This is funny because we were talking about this yesterday, and at the time I hadn't seen this. I don't think I had, at least, but I mean not yesterday, but Tuesday with Head in the Office, about how the Democrats are bewildered in that not only have they lost votes from men, but specifically young men. And this is something, I don't know if you two have seen this online, but I've heard people say that the Democrats are incorrect when they say that they're losing the male vote. And what I've heard many times is, no, this is incorrect. It's the white men. It's the white men that they're losing. The white men are voting for Republicans in huge majorities. And I say, listen, that's true. Like, white men always are going to vote heavier, have always voted heavier for conservative ideology than left wing liberal ideology. But it's dismissing a very important factor here, that amongst young men, I think men under 25 or men under 30, Donald Trump gained in every racial demographic. He had more black men vote for him this time than 4 years ago. He had more Hispanic men vote for him this time than 4 years ago. Under 30, I believe, or 25. So yeah, this is an issue. This is a problem we have to address. How the Democrats are going about addressing it, well, we'll see. All right, Democrats spending millions to learn how to speak to American men and win back the working class. And this is fantastic. Let's see if I can get this up.
I want to comment first, TJ, before we even get to the article. Sure. The photo is hilarious. Like the combination of the photo and the headline, the stock photo of a working guy, like it looks exactly like an Onion article. Like if you put the Onion logo on that headline and that picture, I would have been like, oh yeah, that's an Onion article.
Yeah, that's a very, very ham-fisted shit here. Okay, so sorry. Democrats have blown millions of dollars on efforts to appeal to American men who turned to President Trump in droves on Election Day in the hopes of winning back the working class, according to a report. Democrats have spent $20 million on their efforts, with donors and strategists holing up in luxury hotel rooms, brainstorming how to convince working class men to return to the party. The plan, codenamed SAM, or Speaking with American Men, a strategic plan, promises to use the funds to study the syntax, language, and content that gains attention and virality in these spaces, according to the report.
This is an Onion report?
Oh my God, listen. Okay, all right.
This is real?
Yeah. As the Times described it, the reports can read like anthropological studies of people from faraway places. The effort also recommends Democrats buy advertisements in video games and other things, the Times reported. All right, Heather, we'll go to you first. What do you think? Do you think that, oh shit, what just happened? John, help me out here. Okay, all right. Heather, I don't know, maybe you're not an expert on exactly how men think, but do you think the Democrats are doing the right thing here? Are they, what are their odds of actually righting the ship?
I don't know how they're doing because I haven't looked up statistics about this, but I do know a good amount of American working class men who know how to do with spools of wire whatever you're supposed to do. Like that guy clearly did as he was holding his spool of wire. He's like, yeah, I'm working class. I know what to do with this. I think of my dad as I'm hearing this.
Would this work on your dad,
no.
do you think?
Well, I guess he's old. Oh, sorry, Dad, not old. But, but he's the one who raised, the generation my brother and I are in. The youngish generation. Which age group are we talking about here? I guess I should probably decide.
John, it's under 30, right?
It's under 30. It's either 25, under 25, under 30. I know that's a big difference, actually, but in general, I don't think that the movement between 25 and 30 is all that dissimilar than the movement between 18 and 25.
Yeah. So if I think of my cousins and stuff, I feel exactly what they said. It sounds like they're talking about someone from a different country. How could they possibly reach that demographic if they have so little understanding of them? Oh no, we're doomed. That's what it sounded like to me. I'm like, oh no, because
oh yeah, it is rough. John, you agree? Is it this a fool's errand? You think we're not going to make it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a fool's errand. Let me tell you the first thing I would do if I was tasked with figuring out how Dems could better learn how to talk to men, right? The first thing I would do is when someone from a think tank or whatever came to me and pitched, hey, let's spend millions of dollars sitting in luxury hotel rooms theorizing about how to talk to working class men, throw them out the fucking window.
None of them were there at that place.
It reads like an Onion article. It is the exact opposite of the mind. Again, it's not going to hurt them, right? It's not going to hurt them to have this study, but the fact that they're choosing to employ people who think that doing this is a good idea in the first place, it just reeks of all of the problems. You aren't going out there and talking to real people. You do not sound when you speak like you are authentically communicating to another person. That is 90% of the battle. It's not a fucking policy thing because Americans don't know what the fuck policy they want, and they do not vote based on policy. We have mountains and mountains and mountains of data to prove this. You don't need to send me $10 million for me to tell you this. You can have it for free, right? Number two, we had fucking Joe Rogan 4 years ago voting for Bernie Sanders, right? It's not a policy issue. It's an authenticity issue. Young men also love Bernie Sanders, even though he's this old fucking white dude who's kind of weird. Like, they love him because he's authentically himself. That's it. Just hire people who are authentically themselves, who stand up for what they believe in. Preferably also people that aren't AOC, because she does that, but she doesn't do it in a way that's going to appeal to young men, which is fine. It's fine. Not every politician has to appeal to everyone, but they need more people like AOC who also appeal to young men.
Why don't young men like AOC?
Why don't young men like AOC? Well, Heather, yeah. I'm not justifying. I'm not supporting this. But she very much comes across as the type of person that when young men see that girl in college, they get chastised by her. And like, again, not a justification, but just kind of the type of person she is and the way that she speaks is not going to appeal to young men in the same way that really like a Joe Rogan, a Bernie would, any of these guys that are tossed out there that are good at communicating to young men.
Is it that she's too abrasive or something? Like,
no,
yeah, it's she's young, she's pretty, she's definitely smarter than them, but they won't admit that. She's aggressive in her communication style, way more aggressive than I am in my emails. But like that's, all I'm saying is AOC ain't the spokesperson for young men, right? I'm not saying that she can't be successful or she's got my vote. Her and Tim Walz are competing for it in my mind. But in terms of who's the face to speak to young men, she's the most authentic one in the Democratic Party right now, in my opinion, but she probably isn't that face. There needs to be more of them in the Democratic Party that will appeal more to young men.
That's why I'm wondering. I'm not trying to be snarky when I say why wouldn't they like her, because I'm like, I guess I'm sitting here thinking like, I have no clue what 25-year-old men would want or like or be drawn to. And when you said not AOC, I'm like, oh, because like, I guess I would have thought, she seems great, so she does it for me. So I'm like, so what is the missing piece here? I guess I don't know what they would want either. So it's too threatening. Like they feel threatened by her.
Yes, so 100%. Yeah, I would say that what John was saying, that she seems like the type of person would chastise her. I mean, the fact that she's a woman is like a knock for a lot of these guys. Let's be real. A lot of these guys don't like the idea of women telling them what to do or women being in charge. But she also gives the vibe. She would be the person who would say something like, we need to study the syntax, language, and content that gains attention and virality in these spaces. She would talk like that. And that
she's gotten better at that, DJ. She had gotten better at that, but she did used to do that more than she does now.
Yeah. And that is a problem that we have on the left in general, that a lot of our languages, I like to say, it's almost necessarily academic, and getting that across to, I don't know, folks who aren't like us is kind of difficult. And what you guys mentioned, the rest of the article says, I love this picture too, John. Now that you pointed it out, I can't
this
stop.
Picture tells the entire story of the article.
Great. It's great. It's so great. And what they said is, above all, we must shift from a moralizing tone. While the Democratic Party has struggled in recent years to maintain voters, the party hopes to be rejuvenated by the fact that Trump's popularity has been on the decline since he was elected last fall. Still, the party has been scrambling to find messaging and the messenger since losing the White House. And it says, According to the poll, 40% of people either strongly or somewhat approve of Trump's overall handling of the presidency, while 50% disapprove, 56% disapprove, split by the same modifier, 16 points underwater. It's saying like Trump is doing badly right now and that there's a way for us to get in. But Democrats have lost credibility by being seen as alien on cultural issues, McCrae added. And that's what I really wanted to focus on here, because John is absolutely correct when he says this is not necessarily about policy. And that's hard for us to understand, that we, as much as we talk about politics, even we kind of overestimate the average American's knowledge about politics. We kind of assume that, oh yeah, we do this, we eat, sleep, and breathe this. We're up here, and your average person is here. No, your average person's like way down here. Your average person knows very little. They know and this sounds like ivory tower, like looking down upon the hoi polloi, the unwashed masses. But no, that's just how it is. That's just how it is. And so catching the vibe is very important, but it's hard to describe vibe. In fact, that's why we talk about the male loneliness epidemic and everything. And you tell guys, hey, your vibes are off. The reason women don't like you is because you give off weird, creepy, loner, stalker vibes. And it's hard to change vibes. If you don't know exactly what you're doing, it's easy to scare these folks off. Well, what do you think, Heather?
I have another question then. Kind of back to what John had said about AOC not being what they would like. I'm trying to kind of wrap my mind around that. So the young men are leaving the liberal Democratic side and going over to the conservative Republican side. And you're saying like an AOC, who's someone who I feel very drawn, like when I hear her rhetoric and her way of presenting her rhetoric, I'm like, like I want to hear more, like very interesting to me. But that's not the effect for these young men. They hear that and they are repelled. And instead they go over here to the other side, where there are, though, other youngish, intelligent sounding, attractive females like Lauren Boebert or Marjorie Taylor Greene, or, like all those women. And they must like that. But like those women seem like, to me, like a worse version of AOC, like less intelligent, like their line of logic like doesn't make sense from beginning to end, whereas hers does. When they make points, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. But when I hear her, I'm like, okay, like that really makes sense. Like
Heather, Lauren Boebert and AOC don't sound like they've been to college. That's the difference. That like they sound. Say what?
You said Boebert and AOC. You meant
I'm sorry, Boebert and Boebert and Marjorie. I almost did it again. Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene.
And there's others. I don't know.
Yeah,
what I mean, right? The one with the tight shirt.
Nancy Mace. But she's got the anti-trade. So like she never makes like sound.
The press secretary. What's her name? With the blonde
Caroline
hair,
Levitt.
The giant crosses.
Caroline Levitt.
She's been to college, probably.
All right, but do they sound like it though? John, do you see what I'm saying here?
No, I have an even better way to explain.
Okay,
please,
Heather, have you ever? It's specifically about comparing these two groups of women, right? Have you ever heard of the phrase Republican makeup?
No, I've not.
Okay, so think about the type of makeup that AOC wears versus what Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Nancy Mace wear, and it is exemplary of the point that we're making here. The way that Mace, Boebert, MTG present themselves is for the male gaze. They put on this ridiculous fucking makeup that makes them look like a good little housewife, right? And if you look at the way AOC puts on her makeup, she puts it on like a normal fucking person, right? like she puts it on, and she is naturally very pretty, right? Yeah. But like what I'm saying here is, that is one way in which these women immediately signal to men, whether men understand this or not, that like, we're on your side here. We are going to be subservient. We know our position in this place. We are performing our gender to the way that makes you feel comfortable. And AOC, not that it's a knock, that's a bad thing, but she doesn't do that. She doesn't come across as someone who immediately appeals to them. We brought up,
she's like, I don't have to do that for you.
Exactly. And again, it's not a knock AOC.
It just, and they're like, no, look how pretty I am.
Yeah, and nor is it the only thing, or even the most important thing, but I think it's the most easily visual representation of it. It's the vibes, it's the impression they give off. And I think that the male, counterpoint to this, we talked about him on Tuesday, is Shane Gillis. Where have you seen Shane Gillis at all?
I'm sorry, I don't know who that is.
It's okay. So Shane Gillis is you shouldn't. He does not present himself as someone. Like again, not because he's not good. I actually think he's a very good comedian. But he presents himself. I'm here for working class, beer drinking, sports betting American men. That is his target audience. Everything
I
about
always drop the G at the end of every word when I can.
Exactly. Everything about his persona, everything about him screams, hey, 18 to 45-year-old male, I'm here for you. And he is liberal. He votes Democrat. He doesn't like Trump. But conservatives fucking eat him up because he presents that way to them. That's the thing that Democrats don't quite get. And again, I'm not saying AOC specifically should do that, but there needs to be more Democrats who are willing. I think Pete Buttigieg is kind of trying to do this. If you've noticed, his visual change and overall style of presentation has gotten a little bit more casual, chill, and relaxed.
Yeah.
He is intentionally trying to appeal. And while I have notes, and I don't think he's ever going to quite do it to a high level, he's a great and excellent communicator and can totally be serviceable. And if everyone in the Democratic Party was like him, it would be an utterly incredible revelation to the American people.
Are you saying, because the premise here is it's not the content that is the problem.
Yes.
It is the packaging of the content. Mm-hmm. So the content needs to have a packaging that is more, I'm not exactly sure if it's like a combination of these three or if you're saying it's one of these three. Whatever our cultural understanding of masculine needs to be more masculine packaging, which might mean if you're a female, not that you look more masculine, but you are more appealing, like you said, to the male gaze, or more folksy / rural, or more urban.
I think cool. So again, you're doing the thing that Democrats are trying to do. Doesn't work. And no, it's okay. I'm not criticizing you, Heather. It makes a lot of sense for you to be thinking this way, but it doesn't work because the number one thing that you need is authenticity. What is authentically going for me? What I can authentically do to give the vibes to other dudes that like, okay, we're chill. I'm one of you. Is going to be different than what TJ can do. It's going to be different than what you can do because we're all different people. If we try to do the same thing, it's going to come off as unauthentic. We have to find the authentic. Exactly. And some of us do it naturally. I can naturally slip into a locker room full of dudes and immediately fit right in and know how to talk with them. Without doing any fucking research. I just know I have that lived experience. And so I know how to package my messages in a way that's going to appeal to them. It's part of why I say that, some will say that, leave women's issues for women to speak about, or leave black people's issues for black people to speak about. I'm like, I don't think that's the case because when it comes from me, people who look like me are going to listen more. And that's important. Those are the people we have to convince.
That's a very good point.
That's kind of, and you don't have to look like me specifically. TJ can do it. TJ does it all the time, I'm sure. TJ, I've spoken for a lot here. Do you think that I'm kind of on the right track with what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know how to go down this road because it's not that I disagree with what you said about the presentation because it's that is true that the way because just like you mentioned with Shane Gillis that. Mm-hmm. Shane Gillis looks like he could be your loser cousin or something or something like that. Like he doesn't have a threatening. That's what it is. That's what I think. I think what it comes down to is that with language and your dress and the way you carry yourself there is like an honor. You know how people who grow up in lower socioeconomic societies are more likely to fight. And I remember studying this in college that. Like there's this honor thing that human beings have that if you are doing well financially and your life is going fine and you have enough money, enough food, and someone calls you an asshole in the middle of the street, you'd be like, why is this guy making fun of me? Like, what's this guy's problem? And you go home and enjoy your fun life. But when your life is dog shit, when you're miserable, and someone calls you an asshole, they're insulting your honor, which is might be the only thing you have. Like your pride and your dignity is the only thing you have in your life. And someone threatens that and challenges it, you're going to fight. You're more likely to do it. And that's what I think happens with a lot of these guys is their lives are shitty. They're miserable. They don't know why. They're not smart enough. I'm insulting them now too, but I can't help it. Okay, I can't help it. So it's like their lives are shitty. They're in bad shape. Then they hear someone who either is college educated, sounds like they're college educated, dresses and acts like they're college educated, and they already feel threatened. And they are, and even worse, if it's a minority or a woman saying it to them, it's like, oh, well, this is wrong. This is not how life is supposed to be. And they start AOC starts throwing big words at them, and they feel even more angry, and they turn to whoever's going to coddle them, make them feel better. And this isn't a castigation as these people as inherently bad, that they were just born bad seeds. That's not how any of this shit works. It's an oddly conservative mindset that I see from a lot of people on the left. Like, oh, these folks are just bad. Like, no, nobody is just bad. That's not how this works. I mean, and when the votes need to be won on our side, you got to figure out a way to speak to them. That doesn't mean you change your values. It doesn't mean you change your morals. It just means you change the presentation. Like, the policy isn't going to get you anywhere, but the vibes will. I wish that weren't the case. I wish to God that wasn't the case, but that's how this is, unfortunately.
Well, I have one more question, unless we are out of time.
Oh, sure. Yeah, go
ahead. If I can think how to put it into words, I think I get what you're saying. But so it's a little tricky, though, because I am a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think if I was in AOC's shoes and you're like, oh, well, if you just wear a shorter skirt, they'd probably listen to you, hon. And it's like, okay, well, fuck you. I shouldn't have to do that. Like, but at the same time, it's like, okay, but do you want to win or not? And so I don't know, like, what do you do with that? Like, it feels not very nice. Like, it feels, as a female, to hear like, oh, well, they're not going to hear you because you're using too big of words and you're not dressed sexy enough.
But that last part applies to men too. Like, not the shorter skirt part, but the clothes you wear part. And I would never say that. That's not what I don't think what John was saying either. But
no, but it kind of sounds like that's like
the big words, though. I think that flows either way. That's why, yeah.
Go ahead, so Heather, I want to be very clear because I feel like we've gotten on AOC, but AOC is never going to. It would be inauthentic of her.
It would,
to attempt to specifically appeal to young men, right? It's just it doesn't work for her. And to be clear, I was a young man. I don't know. I'm just out of this. Depending on whether we're going under 25 or under 30, this is where it becomes important. But she appeals to me. She's always appealed to me since I was much younger too, right? But the average, I'm obviously not representative of the demographic of young men who are flipping over to conservatives, right? And for those people specifically, it's just not going to be her. It doesn't need to be her. She can appeal to me. She can appeal to you. She can get a wide coalition of people who support her without attempting to try and shoehorn in this persona that's going to appeal to this specific demographic, because that would lose her authenticity for me.
She has to find a way to reach them. We're saying we're losing them, and as a result, we will lose the mission. And so, AOC,
Heather,
you can pick anyone. Like, she has to find a way to appeal.
Well, it doesn't. What John said, it doesn't need to be AOC. Like, there's there's no reason that AOC is the only one who can win this election or gain these. Maybe she's not the one to do it. I mean, that's fine.
She can win the presidency without it. Like, you cannot appeal to everyone. If we were talking the opposite, if it was how do we appeal to young women, right? Let's say we're talking about Republicans and how they appeal to young women, and you're like, all right, how are we going to get Mitch McConnell to appeal to young women? We're not going to fucking do that. It's never going to happen.